Hey, take that! Take that! Now, get that guy and take that!
What if I told you that one of rock's most legendary performances ended in chaos, riots, and a full-blown police crackdown? Rock history is filled with insane, controversial moments, but these 10, they take things to a whole new level. Rock and roll has always been about rebellion, but some moments were so wild, so shocking, that they changed music history forever. From onstage meltdowns to banned songs and TV scandals, today we're counting down 10 of the most controversial moments in rock history. One legendary band started a riot that got them banned for life. Another made a move on live TV that had the whole world talking. And then there's the moment that got a rock star arrested mid-performance. Who are they? And what really happened? Stick around because you won't believe what went down. Number 1, the day Elvis shook his hips. You wouldn't think a simple wiggle of the hips could send an entire nation into a frenzy, but welcome to 1956, where the biggest threat to society wasn't war, disease, or economic collapse. It was Elvis Presley's pelvis. When Elvis appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show, the cameras only filmed him from the waist up because his dance moves were deemed too suggestive for innocent American audiences. That's right, people actually believed his hip thrusting could corrupt the youth. Of course, this only made him more popular. By the time they realized the genie was out of the bottle, it was too late. Rock and roll was here to stay, and so was Elvis's notorious pelvis. Number 2, the Beatles. Bigger than Jesus scandal.
March 4th, 1966, John Lennon was quoted as saying, "Christianity will go, it will vanish and shrink. We're more popular than Jesus now."
The 60s were a wild time, but nothing prepared the world for John Lennon casually suggesting that the Beatles were more popular than Jesus.
If it had said television is more popular than Jesus, I might have got away with it. I happened to be talking to a friend. I used the word Beatles as a remote thing, not as what I think, as Beatles as though those other Beatles like other people see us. I just said they are having more influence on kids and things than anything else, including Jesus. But I said it in that way, which is the wrong way. Yap, yap.
In an interview, Lennon commented on how he thought rock and roll seemed to be overtaking religion. But as soon as the American press got hold of it, mass hysteria.
He said, I don't know what's wrong with the church at the moment. The Beatles are bigger than Jesus Christ. You know, like they're not building Jesus enough. They ought to do more, like gospel and all this stuff. Well, that was taken out of context.
Radio stations held Beatles record burnings. Religious groups called for boycotts, and people genuinely thought this was the end of civilization. The backlash got so intense that Lennon was forced to apologize. Though let's be real, the Beatles were already unstoppable at that point.
There's a thing or whatever it is. You know, I just said what I said and it was wrong or was taken wrong.
Number 3, Jim Morrison's onstage arrest. Jim Morrison wasn't just a rock star, he was chaos personified. But on March 1st, 1969, in Miami, he might have taken things a little too far. During a Doors concert, Morrison was reportedly drunk out of his mind and went on an unhinged rant, cursing at the crowd and allegedly exposing himself on stage. Naturally, the police didn't love that, so they issued an arrest warrant. Morrison was later convicted of indecent exposure, but fans have debated for years if he actually flashed the audience or if it was just another one of his wild antics. Either way, Florida wasn't inviting him back anytime soon. Number 4, Ozzy Osborne bites a bat's head off. At this point, it's rock and roll law that if you mention Ozzy Osborne, you have to bring up the bat incident. During a show in Des Moines, Iowa, a fan decided it would be hilarious to throw a live bat on stage. Ozzy, thinking it was just a rubber toy, did what any logical person would do. He bit its head clean off. Moments later, he realized it wasn't a toy. Cue sheer panic, multiple rabies shots, and a story that would haunt Ozzy for the rest of his career. Moral of the story? Maybe don't put strange animals in your mouth. Number 5, Dee Snider versus the U.S. government. You know things are serious when Twisted Sister's Dee Snider ends up testifying in front of the U.S. Senate. In 1985, the Parents Music Resource Center, led by none other than Tipper Gore, decided that rock music was corrupting America's youth. Their solution? Slap warning labels on offensive albums.
She's headed for me. Can't run.
Snider, looking like a walking 80s fever dream, showed up to Congress and absolutely shredded their argument to pieces. He proved that just because he looked like a rock and roll maniac, he wasn't stupid. He was well-spoken, articulate, and way smarter than the politicians expected. His speech remains one of the most iconic moments in rock history. Number 6, Guns N' Roses Riot in St. Louis.
Hey, take that! Take that! Now, hit that guy and take that!
If you've ever seen Axl Rose on a good day, you know he's not the most patient guy. Now imagine him on a bad day.
Hey, take that! Take that! Now, hit that guy!
During a 1991 Guns N' Roses show in St. Louis, Axl spotted a fan in the crowd taking pictures, which for some reason made him lose his mind. Instead of, asking security to handle it, Axl did what any reasonable rock star would do. Jumped into the crowd himself and started throwing punches. Security pulled him back, but instead of finishing the show, he stormed off stage, leaving 20,000 furious fans behind. The result? A full-blown riot, destroyed venue, and Guns N' Roses banned from St. Louis for life. Number 7, Rage Against the Machine's Naked Protest. Picture this, it's Lollapalooza 1993. The crowd is pumped, ready for Rage Against the Machine to blow the speakers apart. But instead of launching into a song, the band walks out and does absolutely nothing. Well, not nothing. They're standing there completely naked, each with a letter painted on their chest, spelling out PMRC, a big, loud, and very exposed protest against the Parents Music Resource Center.
Do what they told ya. Do what they told ya.
The group responsible for slapping parental advisory stickers on albums. For a full 14 minutes, they stood silent, arms folded, as the audience went from confusion to cheering to full-blown chaos. Some fans booed, some cheered, security had no clue what to do, and eventually, the band walked off without playing a single note. The stunt was pure rage energy, bold, rebellious, and guaranteed to piss off the establishment. It was their way of flipping off censorship, and let's be real, who else could turn standing still butt naked into one of the most iconic moments in rock history? Number 8, Marilyn Manson blamed for Columbine. After the tragic Columbine shooting, the media needed someone to blame. And who better than the shock rocker himself, Marilyn Manson? Despite zero evidence connecting Manson's music to the shooters, critics ran wild with the narrative that he somehow influenced the attack. The backlash was so intense that his concerts were canceled, his albums were banned, and he became public enemy #1 overnight. Years later, Manson addressed the controversy in Michael Moore's Bowling for Columbine, saying the best thing he could have done was listen to the kids, instead of blaming everything on music.
To the kids at Columbine or the people in that community, what would you say to them if they were here right now?
I wouldn't say a single word to them. I would listen to what they have to say, and that's what no one did.
Number 9. Johnny Rotten swears on live TV. Ah, the good old days when rock stars swearing on live TV could send an entire nation into a meltdown. And no one did it quite like Johnny Rotten.
What are we saying, sir?
Wonderful people.
Are they?
Yes, they really turn us on.
What do they do?
Well, suppose they turn other people on. Which one?
Nothing, a rude word. Next question.
It's December 1st, 1976. The Sex Pistols are on the Today Show, sitting across from Bill Grundy, a smug TV host who clearly thinks punk rock is just a passing fad. He starts poking the bear, taunting the band, and hitting on their friend Susie Sue. Johnny Linden mutters under his breath, "Osh."
Are you worried or are you just enjoying yourself?
Enjoying myself.
Are you? That's what I thought you were doing.
Always wanted to meet you.
Did you really?
Yeah.
We'll meet after. So,
You dirty sod. You dirty old man.
Well, keep going, Chick. Keep going. Go on. You've got another 5 seconds. Say something
You
outrageous.
dirty bastard.
Enter Steve Jones, Sex Pistols guitarist and last-minute national menace. With the deadpan delivery of a man who truly doesn't care, he lets loose a legendary string of insults. "You dirty bastard! You dirty f***er! What a f***ing rotter!"
Go on, again.
You dirty fucker.
What a clever boy.
What a fucking rotter.
Well, that's it for tonight.
Boom! TV executives explode. Phones ring off the hook. The UK press loses its collective mind. The next morning, headlines scream, "The filth and the fury." Parents declare war on punk. The Pistols? They just became the most dangerous band in Britain overnight. And all it took was a few choice swear words and one very unlucky TV host.
Me though. Good night.
Oh, yeah.
Number 10. The Rolling Stones at Altamont.
Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm the main well.
Woodstock was peace and love, but Altamont, a total disaster. The Rolling Stones tried to replicate Woodstock's magic, but things took a dark turn when they hired the Hells Angels as security, paying them in beer. What could go wrong? Everything.
Nice to meet you, baby. Hope you get some Monday.
Fights broke out, chaos ensued, and tragically, a man named Meredith Hunter was stabbed to death in front of the stage.
Petersburg. When I saw was the time for a change.
The entire event was captured on film, making it one of the most infamous moments in rock history. Rock history is filled with wild moments, but these controversies, they left a mark that can never be erased. From shocking TV outbursts to onstage chaos, these were the moments that proved rock and roll was never meant to play by the rules. But now, I want to hear from you. What do you think is the most controversial moment in rock history? Did we miss one? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love diving into the untold stories of rock and roll, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a beat. And hey, if you're still craving more rock history, check out this next video right here. It's packed with legendary moments you won't believe.